Today, I'm taking you on another episode of African history, a story that came long before Boko Haram, a story of fire, fear, and a preacher whose words turned into war. This is the forgotten tragedy that shook northern Nigeria, the Maitatsine Uprisings. Kano, late 1970s, a city alive with sound, color, and trade. The smell of spices fills the markets, hawkers call out to customers, and the streets move like a living river. But beneath this beauty, beneath the noise and the hustle, something else was growing, a quiet tension, a shadow moving in the slums of Yenawaki, a voice that would soon shake the entire north, and that voice belonged to a man called Maitatsine. His real name was Mohammed Marwa, but the people didn't call him that. They called him Maitatsine, the one who curses. His sermons were not gentle, they were not peaceful, they were fire. He condemned everything modern: radios, bicycles, watches, schools, even electricity. To his followers, he spoke like a prophet. To his enemies, he was a dangerous fanatic. And day after day, the crowd around him grew larger and angrier. Young men with nothing to lose, young men searching for belonging, and Maitatsine gave them something to believe in, even if it would destroy them. At first, it was just noise, street arguments, fights between followers and ordinary citizens. But soon, the arguments turned into attacks. Passers-by who refused to listen were beaten, market stalls were destroyed, people lived in fear of the Maitatsine, the followers of Maitatsine, and the government. They watched, they hesitated, they did not know that a storm was coming. December 1980, Kano wakes up to chaos, smoke rises above the rooftops, the sound of gunfire shakes the streets. Thousands of Maitatsine's followers launch a violent uprising. They attack police stations, markets, homes, anything and anyone in their path. For the first time in decades, Kano becomes a battlefield. The Nigerian army enters the city. The fighting is brutal, buildings burn, families run for safety. And when the fire finally dies, more than 4,000 people lie dead. The city is silent, and somewhere in the ruins, the body of Maitatsine is found. The preacher is gone, but the war he started was far from over. With Maitatsine dead, many expected everything to end. They thought the movement would fade away, but instead, the followers regrouped, they hardened, they reorganized, and new leaders rose, just as fiery, just as angry, just as determined. The ideology survived, the anger grew deeper, the fire of Maitatsine found new hands to burn with. 2 years later, the violence returned. 1982, Bulamkutu, Maiduguri, another violent clash, another city thrown into fear. 1982, Kaduna, riots, houses destroyed, people killed. 1984, Gongola State, entire communities wiped out. 1985, Yola, the deadliest uprising since Kano. Everywhere the movement spread, destruction followed. And the government still could not stop it. It was like chasing a fire that kept appearing in new places. By 1985, the flames of the Maitatsine movement reached the city of Yola, and once again, the streets turned into war zones. Nigerian soldiers marched into the city, but the fighting was fierce. Buildings burned, smoke filled the sky, the cries of civilians mixed with the sound of gunfire. When the final shots were fired, hundreds were dead. The leader, Malam Musa Mokoniki, fled the country, and at last, after 5 long years, the Maitatsine Uprisings came to a bloody end. But the story did not end there, because the ideology, the anger, the rejection of modern life, the hatred for the Nigerian state, it did not die. It simply waited. Decades later, another group would rise from the ashes, a group more organized, more violent, more deadly. This new group would terrorize the entire country. Its name, Boko Haram, and its roots can be traced back to Maitatsine. This has been the story of the Maitatsine Uprisings, the forgotten conflict that shaped the future of northern Nigeria. If you want more powerful African stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching History Speaks with AI.